Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Senator Mazie Hirono. Senator, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Brittany. Great to be with you.
Great to be with you. You are at the final day of the DNC in Chicago. We have seen past presidents, former first ladies, newer faces, all representing the Democratic Party. So please,
Yes.
to start the conversation, what are your takeaways? What has it been like?
For one thing, this is really high energy, enthusiasm, happy, joyful people. And note that people actually, including our former presidents and other noteworthy people, actually want to come to our convention compared to some other conventions I can think of. So it's positive energy. I have been coming to conventions since 1994. And this is probably the most united, joyful convention I've ever been to. And it's important because democracy and freedoms are at stake.
And on a lighter note, this might be the first convention where you could consider yourself brat. Can you show us your pin that you're wearing?
This is my brat pin. It's my favorite pin. I've been wearing it since day one. Are you
For
going to
the
tell them?
uninitiated, tell us, because Charlie XCX declared it a brat summer. Kamala
Yes.
Harris's campaign compared it a brat, or called it a brat summer. Tell us, in your opinion, what brat summer means to you.
Well, brat summer, I mean, to me, brat is you're cool, and you don't have to be dressed up all the time. You're comfortable in your own skin. You're yourself. Basically, you're cool. And I like that because when Charlie XCX deemed that Kamala would be brat, and I put out my own brat tweet, by the way. I put out a picture of me, Kamala, and Doug, and I had the brat green overlay over that photo, which was seen by 5 million people.
And you actually could be the one to judge if Vice President Kamala Harris is brat because you know her. You've worked with her in the Senate. And I want to talk about your time working with her as a colleague. First, you both introduced legislation together, various legislation. What is it like working with her? What is it like collaborating with her?
Well, the most intense work that I did with Kamala was on the Judiciary Committee, where we dealt with the Trump nominees, including, of course, the three Supreme Court nominees. And they were intense hearings. And to with Cory Booker and Kamala, the three of us, she deemed us the POCs on that committee, the people of color. Somebody even contacted my office saying, do they make them all sit together like that because they're POCs? No, we were the latest additions to that committee. But working with Kamala and how she would set up her questions, Bill Barr, our former Attorney General, and Brett Kavanaugh, our Supreme Court Justice nominee, it was very delightful to watch her grill them. And even if they couldn't answer a question, because she would paint them into a corner, the point was made. So she's very skilled as a questioner. She knows what she's after, and she knows, the kind of information that the people of our country needed. And so I know that she is a skilled prosecutor. And that's why when President Biden said we need to send a prosecutor to a White House, not the felon, he knew whereof he spoke, and I do too. So I became very fond of Kamala, working with her for 4 years. And the three of us, me, Cory, and Kamala, we got along really great. We would have nonverbal communication with each other. We would sometimes pass notes, but I know her to be a skilled questioner, a very, very focused person. And but I also know her in other contexts where she's very kind and gracious as a hostess.
Well, we saw those questions when, especially the confirmation hearing of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. The DNC played it,
Hmm.
but that was really a moment where she became a rising star about 6 years
Hmm.
ago. But that's very public. But bring us inside maybe something that the American voters and people don't know that you have insight to. Do you have a funny anecdote or any story that shows who you believe Kamala Harris is?
When she became a vice president, she would have to come and break a tie, for example. And usually, when she's presiding, I would go up to where she is and have a few words with her because I consider her a friend. And I remember one time, it was a winter time, and I went up and my shawl was unraveling. I didn't notice. And as I turned around to leave her, she called me back. And there's video of her fixing my shawl. And I think the tape on that was, Kamala takes care of her girlfriends, something like that. And she's like that. And she has invited the women senators to her residence, where I know the first time we all showed up, she had gone home early to make us her very famous and delicious cheese puffs. And she gave us the recipe. She said, "Oh, Mazie, this is really easy to make. I have yet to do that." So she is very gracious. She's kind. She laughs easily. When she's focused, she's focused. That is why I know she's going to make a wonderful, not only a terrific vice president, but of course, a very, very focused and no nonsense president of the United States.
From those hearings especially, she really did develop that reputation of being quick, asking tough questions. She debated Vice President Mike Pence 4 years ago, and polls indicated that she won that debate. So what do you say to her critics now that take issue with the fact she's been in the race for a month, she hasn't had a major press conference yet, or hasn't sat down for an interview?
She has been very busy in the last month, going to all of the rallies that she had, and really letting the voters see her and to respond to her. So she's been a little busy, I'd say. And so I have every confidence that she is going to be doing really well, and she handles herself very, very well. She's very calm. She knows what she's talking about, and the reporters are going to soon find that out for themselves.
We will be seeing her tonight when she takes the stage at the Democratic National Convention, the final night. What specifically are you looking out for in her speech?
She has been very clear about how much she is going to fight for the middle class, and how that she is going to fight for our freedoms, our freedom to choose, our freedom to vote, our freedom to be free of gun violence, to freedom to love who we love. Those are the freedoms that she's talking about, and how important democracy is. So this is a clear choice for the voters of our country, for Americans, that on the one hand, you have a Kamala Harris and Tim Walz who bring their middle class values and commitment to strengthen the middle class, because when the middle class is strong, America is strong. And I certainly believe that too. But the contrast between that team, that ticket that will bring us forward in a positive way, versus the other side, doom and gloom, in my opinion, that our country's best times were in the past, and so we should go back to that past, which was not so great. And so the contrast between the lightness and the positivity and commitment to the middle class of the Harris Walz ticket, versus the darkness and let's go back to the past that wasn't so great for a lot of people. The choice is really clear, and that is what I hope the people of America will see tonight and going forward.
The people of America last night were able to see Governor Tim Walz formally introduce himself to the nation on the stage at the DNC. What did you make of his speech, and what do you make of him as the vice presidential pick?
Tim and I were elected to the U.S. House in the same year, the '06 class. We are the majority-making class that enabled Nancy Pelosi to become the first female speaker in the history of our country. And so our '06 class is very fond of each other. And frankly, Tim was my personal choice for the vice presidency. And when I listened to him, I thought, now here's a guy who is so genuine. He's so authentic. He literally will take the shirt off his back, and we know that he will help people get out of snowbanks. But watching him as governor, there are a couple of things that I very much supported what he did. One is that he feeds his kids. He feeds his kids. I have signed on to national legislation to provide free lunches for all of our kids. He's done that in Minnesota. He also is supporting the free college tuition for families that need that help. So he's done the kinds of things that truly support the middle class, and I know that he and Kamala will continue to do those kinds of things when they win the presidency and vice presidency. But these are genuine human beings. they come from the middle class. They are not the recipients of inherited wealth. They have to work for where they are. They empathize, something that Trump doesn't have. They empathize with the middle class, and when they say they're going to do everything they can to help the middle class, they mean it. They're going to do it.
There's obviously a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement around the top of the ticket, but do you think that House and Senate races have been made a priority too at this moment?
Oh, definitely. So what I'm seeing as I talk with a lot of people who are from the battleground states, this enthusiasm is translating in their states also, and so the people who are volunteering, they're also going to be working on those races, and I am very hopeful, more than hopeful, that we are going to take back the House, retain the Senate, and we will win the presidency, and that this country can move forward and support the freedoms that too many of us have lost, thanks to somebody I won't mention.
Some words I've heard you say and some emotions I've heard you convey in this conversation are hopeful, enthusiastic, energized. That's the DNC, though. Right now, it's August. The election's in November, so how do you keep this momentum going from then until Election Day?
The momentum is going to keep going because we're going to keep it going. We know what's at stake, and this is no time to sit back and say, "Well, it's done." No, we understand the urgency of the now. We understand the need to do something. So that's what we're doing. And in fact, today I met these twins. They probably were in their 20s, and they're very busy registering young people. And they said that the enthusiasm among the young people who will be critical to this election, young people who are energized, who are having their faith restored practically, it's great. Also, women are going to make a difference in this election, as well as minority communities. The AA NHPI communities are also very mobilized to know that they have at the top of the ticket, we have an East Asian person, and somebody who can relate to the challenges of the AA and HPI community, as well as women. And this is a ticket that really reflects the diversity of our country.
Senator Hirono, I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you.
Have a great time at the DNC. Thank you so much. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Aloha.